First off, I want to thank each and every one of you who took time to comment and support and show my clients love yesterday. I stopped dead in the middle of my workout to make this video because the more I thought about it, someone commented on YouTube, and it wasn't offensive or anything like that, but my client that won, she commented she didn't really need much work done anyway, but she did a really good job. And I get it because my client, with the, I don't know if naked eye would just be a good thing to say or a good way to put it, but she was already, to someone that's struggling with their weight a lot, really, really overweight, she doesn't appear to be overweight. If I'm not mistaken, I should have looked at her chart before I say this, but I feel almost certain, and if she's watching this video right now, she can correct me, that she's 4'11" in height. So for her height, yes, she was overweight. She's overweight, and which we're not going to just go off the BMI chart entirely. But here's the thing: if most of us could catch ourselves before we get up into the 200s, like me, for instance, I got my highest weight was 247 pounds at 5'4" in height. But what I want to do is call special attention and just mad respect to her, because what a lot of people don't understand, and hopefully this will encourage many of my other clients and a lot of you watching this. First, let me say this because I'm kind of in that spot right now, but this is a fact, and if you don't believe me, look it up. For Miss Keisha Tate to have lost 10 pounds in 6 weeks, first and foremost, it is a lot more difficult for a smaller person, skinny, lean, however you want to put it. It's a lot harder for them to lose weight than it is someone who's overweight. The reason being, an overweight person's body pulls more energy, requires more calories. Contrary to popular belief, an overweight person's body burns more calories at rest. I'm going to give y'all an example. Here and now today, my maintenance calories are about 2,100. My height is 5'4", and I'm anywhere between 155 and 160 pounds. Sometimes I can get up to 163, 165 even, just depending on water weight. And especially now that I'm in a slight bulk, I'm kind of going between eating in a slight calorie surplus and my maintenance calories. But right now, today, my maintenance calories are 2,100, okay? When I was 247 pounds, without exercising, my maintenance calories was 2,800, because I was under the impression that if I could just work out 7 days a week, that I would be able to eat what I want and weight would just just come peeling off of me, which was not true. This is before I had all of the education and wisdom that I have now, but I was working out 7 days a week, so that increased my calorie burn to 3,200. To say the least, whenever it finally clicked a year and a few months later, that yeah, a calorie deficit and high protein diet is what I needed to do. The weight, it took a year for it to come off. Once I got into the calorie deficit, my second year into fitness, and a year may seem and sound like a lot, but in all actuality, it flew by. Now that I'm smaller, whenever I get ready to go into a cut, it's a lot more difficult, because 1,500, 1,600, that would be probably where I needed to be to cut. I'll have to go back and redo all of my information to make sure, but just say 1,500. When I was overweight, I could cut. When I was 247 pounds, I could cut at 2,300. So a lot of the ladies that are on my team or my clients, they're overweight. I have just probably about two or maybe three more clients similar to Miss Keisha. What I mean by that is other young ladies that are like 4'11", 5'1", 5'2" in height, some 5 feet, 5 feet, and they're like 151 pounds, 148 pounds. And to someone that's 5'4", my height, it's like, that doesn't sound like really that big of a deal, but that's how much I weigh, and I'm 5'4" in height. I will never forget when my niece signed up for one of my programs, and my daughter was like, "Mama, what is she doing?" Number one, she's in the military. I think she's 5 feet in height. And I'm just guessing, I think about 150 pounds, give or take. But her thing was, she was struggling to pass the physical fitness test for the military. So she needed to get into shape. And she also wanted to shed a few pounds because at her height, she's overweight. And now, also, let me get off of the subject a little bit. I want to give a big shout out to Monique. the one that didn't win, but she was second place. It almost makes me wish I would have had it a cash prize for second place too, had I known it been so close and so tight. I honestly believe, like, one of my classmates, she commented under the post on Facebook that Monique looked like she had lost a lot more than 7 pounds. So it seems like maybe, and it's obvious, she was probably holding on to a little bit of water weight. But she also was moving right at the very end of the challenge. So it probably was water weight, because the body recompositioning, just looking at her, you can see a difference, and it dang sure looks like more than 7 pounds lost. And I'm going to say this, I know it's summertime, a lot's going on, and my clients, they really put their best foot forward, but a lot of them honestly admitted towards the end they could have done a lot better. And I'm here to tell you, yes, they could have. Yes, if y'all are watching, y'all could have. Because I promise y'all, I've made videos in the past with my transformations, and literally I always say, excuse me when I say this, but fat people have the most potential. That is the truth. It is so much easier for a person that's overweight or severely overweight to lose weight than it is a small person. So again, I want to give a special shout out to Keisha Tate. And I know that can be so irritating for someone that's probably 250 pounds, 260 pounds. Yeah, naturally, you want to see somebody like you pulling this off, okay? But I am telling y'all, this is science, this is facts. It is a lot harder for someone Miss Keisha Tate size to have shedded 10 pounds than it is. And even for me, because you can consider me, I'm not just lean, like just the leanest, but yeah, it's harder for me now. It's a lot harder for me than opposed to when I was bigger and fat. So this shouldn't be discouraging to y'all. It should be encouraging. I am telling you, fat people have the most potential. Once you get in that mindset and you lock in and you get your calories on point and your protein intake on point, and if you can add in a regular exercise routine, that just really tops it off. And I am absolutely here to tell y'all, it is a lot harder for a skinny person, a small person, a lean person to drop and shed weight, especially at 4'11" height. I told her off the top, and I tell any of my clients, anything under 5'4", I'm just keeping it real. It's a disadvantage. I mean, short people have the best advantage in the gym as far as putting on muscle and just getting, like, they're getting shredded. They put on muscle, and it's easier for them to put on muscle. But to actually get shredded and lean out, and because their calories suck, simply because the shorter an individual is, the less food it takes to move them, because the shorter you are, it doesn't take as much muscle to hold that little frame up. So a tall person, a woman that's 5'7", 5'8", 5'6", and even 5'5", 5'5", my height and 5'5", decent, 5'6", 5'7", or 5'8", they have an advantage, because the taller you are, the more muscle it takes to hold your big, tall frame up. The fatter you are, the more muscle it takes to hold your big frame up. So that's why when you're reading the back of a nutrition label on things at the house, like food products, and if you're at a restaurant, even if you pull up to McDonald's right now, down below at the very bottom of that screen, tiny little black writing, it'll say something to the case of 2,000 calories is general nutrition advice for the average person, but calorie needs may vary. The average person would be, I'm just going to use a woman for instance, she'll be 5'4", 5'5" in height. She's not overly tall, not overly short, between 135, about 150 pounds. She's not underweight, she's not overweight. She goes to work every day and comes home. What I mean by work every day, like a CNA job, walking up and down the halls, maybe stocking shelves at Walmart. If she has a stay-at-home job or an at-home job, she's not very active. That's sedentary, so that's not average. Let's just say, just hypothetically speaking, if she was a construction worker, and you don't really find a lot of women doing that, but it's very possible, she would be overly active. So that's what it means by calorie needs may vary. But on average, the average person, about 2,000 calories. A man requires more calories, so I would say the average male, about 2,300, give or take. But again, it depends on your muscle mass, how lean you are, how fat or overweight you are. But the shorter and smaller you are, the less calories, the less food it takes to move you. So once again, let's give Miss Keisha Tate a congratulations round of applause. She did her thing, and Miss Monique did too. I hope this encourages y'all to come on, lock in. Let's get it together, ladies, fellas too.